Hi everyone, here is our Thread Tech Tuesday. In this month for March, we're going to be exploring the buttonhole stitch and the blanket stitch. I'm going to start with the blanket stitch first. I use it way more than the buttonhole stitch. I don't use the buttonhole stitch very often, but they're very related, so I thought we would tackle them both at the same time. And today I'm just going to show you kind of a couple basic variations and how you start. So when you're in the middle of the fabric, you want to come up and then know that your stitch is going to be above where you came up. You're not going to start going down, you're going to start by going up. And you want to think about an L, so or a triangle. So this would be your triangle here. So you're going to go in at the top and come straight down and keep this thread over, oops, like that, not like what I was doing, so that it kind of latches in there and creates this little L shape. And then you're just going to keep adding them on. And on this demo, I'll just do a few for you so I can show you a couple variations. And historically, the stitch is done very evenly with the same amount of space. Generally, it's the same width and the height are exactly the same. I don't use it that way because I find that kind of boring. I prefer to have it kind of varying in size for the work I do. If you were doing something where it needed to be very very straight or very precise, you would want to mark it probably. So I'm just gonna, when you end your row, you're just going to go in right next to where you came out, just kind of couches over that line, and there you go. So I have a sample done, and the first line was done with this lovely variegated thread, and I was sort of even. I did not mark it, so my line is not, I'm kind of going downhill a little bit and have a little jag there, but that is not important to me, especially if I'm working on something that's very fluid. So on this sample here, I varied the height. So I varied how tall the stitches were. And that's the way I stitch it most of the time, with varying this height. I think it's very fun. I try and not get into a pattern. You can create a lovely kind of arch or curved line if you keep it all the same, but that doesn't really, I don't use it like that. I'll try and demo that next week. And this one I varied the width, and you can create kind of a pattern or not. This one's wider than this one and this one, and these are all about the same. It's just another different look. Now this one, I've stitched down one direction and then back the other direction. On this one, I've stitched them facing each other. So I'll just do a quick demo of those two. Actually, I could just use this one that I've already started. Let's do that. I'm going to come up here. And you could stitch alternating either way, but when I do this one, I really like to have this center line be the two threads thicknesses. I think it kind of makes it a little more chunky. I like it that way. So I'm just going to go over, kind of come up on the other side of that thread, but keep this under the needle. So going the opposite direction. And here it's fun to vary these a lot or a little, depending on what kind of look. If you're trying to do kind of a Frankenstein scar, I just find them fun. I like to do this on where two seams overlap, or where, in a collage where they overlap, and I'll put some photos of where I've used it. I think this one is fun. And you could use it for kind of an abstracted tree. Kind of reminds me of old-fashioned telephone posts. They're a lot more lines than an old-fashioned telephone post. And then I just kind of get those lines together. So I really enjoy doing this one, going both directions. And the other one, you want to stitch your line going one direction. And this is also fun with two different colors of thread. I'll just go a couple. I'm actually a little close here to this one. Wasn't thinking properly. Thinking backwards. I'm just going to tie that off there. And then turn this around the other direction. And come back. And you could go deep or not deep. You could make them really close together where this line is not, where there's no space here. There's just lots of variations on this. I think it makes a really interesting design. Almost similar to that old Greek key design. So that's how you do those two. And they're really fun variations. So I hope you will give those a try, and I'll put a photo of this up with the video and a couple photos of other places where I've used it. Have fun stitching!